Now, we've talked about some of the more esoteric stuff and very powerful stuff, but there are some parts of sales that are really, really basic, and I'm just going to give you a better way to do them. One of the biggest ones is, as much as you do all this stuff, you read someone's personality, you present to their hot buttons, you get them the right way, it's going to get you to a place where you can close more smoothly and easily. But you're still going to get what? Objections. There's no way around it. Yes? You hear?
Yeah.
You're still going to get objections. Objections. Now, here's the thing about objections that's interesting. When I talk to people about objections, most people, even if they've been in sales for years, they act like it's the first time that they've gotten one of these things. It's really amazing. And, you know, you'll sit there and I'm just checking. And, what? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean it's too expensive? I just told you how great it is. So, the first thing I want to do, just to make a point, is I want to, let me just do this exercise the way I do it with so many of my seminars. First off, let's just get the objections. You all have been selling for a while here, you know, and you've had experience with enough clients. Shout out to me. What are the main objections you get? Let's go.
Too expensive?
Money.
Change.
Change.
Marketing?
Yeah, never heard of it.
Okay. Never heard.
Technology.
Heard. Marketing. Change. Never heard. Technology. What else?
Those are the most common.
Anything else? Give me two more. Are there at all?
Yeah, there's a ton. I don't know why I'm spacing on that right now. I'm gonna save by Burning Man.
Too expensive. Competition.
What's fun, you guys? Competition.
Competition has different stuff.
Size.
Size.
Oh, can you handle growth, scalability?
Right. Size. Growth. Anything else? Now look at this.
They don't like you.
Well, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's about normal. I can stand up, I've done this for years. I've stood in front of groups of 50 to 100 salespeople. Like I did a training for New York Life. I got 100 agents in one room. And I did the same thing I did to you. We ran out after 8. That was it. Very few people are going to come to you and say, Jennifer, the reason I can't do business with your company is I'm awaiting the delegation from Saturn because they're landing their spaceship in my backyard next week. And they said they have some next level tech where they can sell you a ticket before you know you want it by using a wormhole. So they can go back in time and know what you want before you do. Probably not going to get that one. If you do get that objection, leave. Because you're probably talking to someone who's on drugs, right? No, normally you don't get people saying I'm dealing with the people from Mars. What you get is pretty much the same things all the time.
Some promoters that call in here think that they have people from Mars already.
Well, it is the music industry, and they probably, you know, there's mushrooms growing in fields all over the place. You never know, right? The point is, if you know that it's the same 6 objections, you should probably what?
Prepare for this.
Be prepared and be ready. And yet, a lot of people get the objection, and it's like the first time they've heard it. They don't have a ready answer. There's a reason it's a problem. People, here's an influence thing you need to know. When 2 people meet, if they have rapport, and this has been tested time and again, I can give you all the studies. If 2 people meet and they have rapport, the more certain person, not sometimes, always, it's one of the very few things that you can say 100% of the time, the more certain person will influence the less certain person. It's been studied again and again. So if I'm right at a decision-making point, and I look at you and I go, Ryan, what about this? And you go, actually, from that body language and that tonality, I'm going, ooh, that must have been a good one. Because I stopped him for a second. Since he wasn't certain, I'm going to feel like the problem might even be bigger than it is. Whereas, if I turn around and go, Ryan, you know, there's this objection, you go, oh, that's great, boom. And just smoothly and easily you have a really good answer to that. I'm going to go, oh, it's not as big a problem as I thought it was. Make sense? So preparing ahead of time is crucial because that is not the moment you want to feel uncertain. You almost want to come across like, oh yeah, everybody asked me that. Here's the answer, it should be fine. Right? How do you do that? Well, we're going to follow, if objections do pop up, use a pattern what's called AARD. So jot this down for yourselves. AARD stands for align and redirect. Align and redirect. Best example I can give you this, I used to watch old cowboy movies with my dad. And these are the old ones. And they all basically had the same plot. And they were all shot in the same place, this little valley in California, Gloria Thousand Oaks, right? And it's like almost the same script. Almost at every point in one of these old movies. Here's what happens. You got a beautiful girl in the stagecoach. And she's there with her little parasols and some, our old prospector driving the stagecoach, and he pulls up in town and he goes, "Now ma'am, you just stay in there for 1 second. I just gotta go pick up the mail." And the girl goes, "Oh, I'll stay here because I'm a lovely maiden. I'll just..." And what happens? He gets off the thing, and just at that second, a gunfight breaks out. And there's noise, and the horses get scared, and they go flying down that one road in town. And the lady's sticking her head out going, "Help, help, runaway stagecoach." And who sees this but our hero? And what does he do? He runs, he jumps on the first horse he can find, and he goes flying after that stagecoach. Now here's what he doesn't do. What he doesn't do is go as fast as he can, get his horse in front of the stagecoach, jump off the horse and go, "Stop!" Why?
Ran over.
They're going to get killed, right? So many salespeople, they'll say things like, "Hey, I think this might be a problem." And then someone goes, "Oh, no, 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 no. You must not have understood. Let me explain again." It's like, wait a minute, the guy just told you an objection, and the first thing out of your mouth was, "No, no, no, you didn't understand. Let me explain again." It's like now, and by the way, these clients have egos, right? And they just gave you an opinion, and you implied that they could be what?
Wrong.
Oh my God, now they've got to, now you're going head to head, because out of significance, they've got to convince you they're right. What does the cowboy do? He gets his horse going quick, he goes as fast as he can, he catches up to the stagecoach, and then he pulls his horse in until they're going the same speed, and then he grabs the reins. And now when he has those reins, he can pick the stagecoach wherever he wants it to go, right? He aligns, and then he redirects it. So how do we do this with people? I mean, this is such a great influence pattern. It's kind of like feel, felt, found, except ultra to the next level. And the pattern follows 4 steps. Number 1, align with the client by saying, and jot this down for yourself, "I totally understand." Not, "I totally agree." Because you don't agree, but you can understand. This is purposeful. Because believe it or not, as powerful as these people are, as big egos as they might have, they do know that you took time and energy to come see them. They do know that you have a result in mind that you want to get. And they do know that if they don't say yes, you're going to be disappointed and everything. And part of them either goes, "Look, I don't want to hurt this guy's feelings." They do feel a little apprehensive about this, right? So all of a sudden, they give you this objection, they're expecting you to get upset, and you understand. So what it does is it brings down their what?
Worries.
They're worried, they're barriers. Like they feel like, "Oh, wow, I can talk to this guy and it's going to be okay." And especially some of you high Ds out there, that'll be a big help. Because with high Ds, people can get scared of upsetting you. Right? Then you redirect them by saying, "As a matter of fact, I heard that from many of my current clients before they decided to do business with me." Now we're bringing in something very powerful, social proof. Because you said to them, "I've heard that from who? Many of my
Current clients.
So other people had that same concern, yet they still became what?
My client.
My clients. Right? So you say, "I've heard that from many of my current clients before they decided to do business with me." Then here's step 3. But in the end, they decided to move forward anyway. And here's the golden phrase, "Do you know why?" Now, why did I put "do you know why" at the end? Because obviously they don't know my client.
Because they're going to give you their objective. They're going to possibly regurgitate their objection, which is what you want. And it gives them, they will tell you in that moment what you need to sell them. They will often...
Yeah, part of that is that. But when you say, "Do you know why?"
They're going to sell themselves, essentially.
Yeah.
You're opening up that door for them to give you the right answer.
That's what it is. It's a door opener. Because what they're going to say, most naturally, is some version of, "Actually, no, I don't. Why?" Or they'll throw out a couple of things like, "Well, is it this? Is it this?" You go, "No, but can I share with you?" "Sure." So if they say to you, no, actually I don't know the reason for that, Eric, why? Well, what are we socially conditioned to do? If you ask someone what the reason for something is, the next step in the conversation for you is to what?
Then what's the reason?
Is to shut up and listen, right? Like, I'm not going to go to Eric and go, Eric, why did you wear that hat today? And keep talking. Like, I just asked him to tell me something. I asked him a why question. Now my job is to shut up and wait for the answer. So you'll be with this client and go, well, a lot of my clients have had this in the past, but they decided to move forward anyway. Do you know why? And they'll go, well, no, why? And then they'll just shut up and listen. It's like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Because now they're just waiting for you to what?
Explain.
Yes! So here's the final step. Give them your pre-prepared and well-rehearsed answer. Right? And that's what I talk about with the certainty. When two people have rapport, the more certain person will always influence the less certain person. The reason you need to pre-prepare is because you want these things to roll off your tongue. You don't even want a look of concern to come across your face. You don't want your tonality to get it all stressed. Because it's not a big deal. I'll just explain to you the reason that that doesn't matter. Right? And if you feel that way, they feel that way. I analogize it to children. I learned something really interesting about kids when I was a teenager. My friend's brother, who was like 5, running around, fell down, hurt himself. I ran over and I was like, oh my God, are you okay? The kid was confused. But he looked at me and he just was about starting to cry. You know how kids go, because I was like so concerned, so he figured I should cry. And his brother pushes me out of the way. And he grabs the kid and he punches him and goes, oh, you're fine, you're fine. And the kid goes, I guess I am. Right? That's kind of the certainty principle. If you come in like, oh, well, price isn't as much of an issue as you think. Because that's telling the guy, you're worried about price. If the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, of course we're going to talk about price sooner or later, right? I mean, in any business conversation we're going to get to that. You know, and I've had a lot of clients mention price to me in the past, but they still signed on with me. You know why? Very different feeling, isn't it? Oh, yeah. I knew we were going to talk about this sooner or later. My clients don't care about price. In the end, they still signed. You know why? Why? Boom. And then I hit them with the answer. Does that make sense? As you go into your pattern. Now, there's a point I wanted to make, which is on the next slide. Since you may have to use this pattern more than once, because there may be more than one objection, there probably will be, all you got to do is say the exact same pattern using different words. So if he gives me that as a second objection, price, and I'm sorry,
James.
And I go right back to James, I say, well, James, I totally understand. As a matter of fact, a lot of my clients say, dude, what happened? You just said that 5 minutes ago. So the next time I go, well, I see what you mean. You know, this isn't the first time I've heard that, but there's a reason that most of my clients decide to work with us regardless. Can you guess what it is? Right? Or, that's a fair point. I'm sure a lot of people would wonder about that. But there is one thing to consider before letting that stop you. May I share? Same thing, but just different phrasing. So he doesn't realize that I'm running the same influence pattern, the same door, what we call door opener pattern, multiple